It's a British guy playing American versus British guy playing American as FBI man Jude Law takes on racist militia leader Nicholas Hoult in The Order.
But they're really good at being American.
Well, yeah.
Like, they do really good American accents.
They do.
Like,
they do.
You wouldn't know. If you didn't know, you wouldn't know. Everyone's really good here. Yeah, The Order came out this past weekend, so we're playing catch up with it. It might be trickling out to a city near you very soon, so keep an eye out for it if this kind of thing interests you. And subscribe if you have not, because we like talking about this kind of movie, serious art house stuff to sink our teeth into.
We want you to join us on a mission, putting words into action. Will you stand up and fight to survive?
The Order is based on true events, and it's based on a book, and it's about this right-wing militia in the 80s in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, just in the Pacific Northwest in general. And it's all these white guys, they're pretty much all guys, and they are robbing banks to fund their militia to try to overthrow the government, to amass enough weaponry and bombs to just take over. Their Bible is a thing called the Turner Diaries, which is a real book, this red covered book, and it has inspired everyone from the people behind Oklahoma City to the January 6th insurrectionists, and is a 6-step plan for overthrowing the government. It is chilling. Nicholas Hoult is the leader of this group. His name is Bob Matthews. He's a real guy. And it's about how he's sort of juggling family and also his rise, his ascension to be the leader of this particular group of white supremacists. And it's a fascinating performance because, first of all, he's giving me young Tom Cruise here. For sure, just in terms of like the way he carries himself and like the hair and just the look on his face and the swagger.
They give him the haircut of the actual guy, which was like, I appreciate the verisimilitude, but I found it distracting. It's a weird.
It was the early 80s.
It's mullety, but not. And
it's kind of a bowl cut, but it's also kind of like early 80s Tom Cruise hair, is it not? I think he has a look on his face.
I mean, Risky Business? Which early 80s Tom Cruise was about? Legend?
What's the one where he was a wrestler?
Football player? All the Right Moves?
Yes, there you go. It reminded me of like this era of him in general, but he's like a good half a foot taller. And so Jude Law is this FBI agent who is on the case trying to take them down. Jurnee Smollett is his once and future partner in investigating all these things. And then Ty Sheridan is the local deputy who dares to actually look into this. Like, these people have so much control in this town, in this region, that a lot of the law enforcement just looks the other way. Or maybe they're sympathetic to their cause. But Ty Sheridan actually knows what's going on and wants to help. And then Maron stars in just a couple of scenes as Alan Berg, this radio DJ who was assassinated by these people. And in just a couple of scenes, he's great. He's Marc Maron. He can't help but be good. And
if you've seen Oliver Stone's Talk Radio, that was a play about the real Alan Berg.
Yes, the same thing. And so it's about how these two men are on a collision course with each other, but it's also really about the kind of sense of place that Justin Kurzel is really good at creating. If you saw his Macbeth, if you saw his Assassin's Creed, he works with Michael Fassbender a lot. And there's like a gritty sort of realism and an austerity that can be very beautiful in the look of these films. Adam Arkapaw is his longtime DP. And so there's like, a shot in a dive bar will be backlit in a way that's incredibly artful and beautiful. And so I feel like he really puts you in the middle of this, and it just feels like a very solid piece of true crime filmmaking. Like, it's not fancy, it's not fussy, it does not overplay the drama or the tension. It just lets these events play out. And I just thought it was really solidly acted and well done. That Nicholas Hoult was chilling. I mean, quite frequently he is playing somebody who we're meant to like, even when he's in The Great, he's an awful human being, but he's like hilarious and charismatic. And so you can't help but watch him. Here he's playing a bad guy. And it's interesting to see him make that shift.
Yeah, this movie didn't really do much for me. No. I agree that it is filmed with some care and there are some good performances, but it just felt really familiar. I feel like I've seen this kind of movie a bunch where, if they were trying to do this as a procedural, then it's a pretty stale procedural. It's like, here's all the steps of how the investigation plays out. And even within that, it's not all that interesting because, like, like Jude Law finds out about the Turner Diaries because someone hands him a copy of the Turner Diaries. It's not like he's doing a lot of deep digging on that stuff. And if it's supposed to be a character study of like, oh, this young charismatic racist or this, alcoholic embittered FBI agent who, is separated from his family, that all kind of felt familiar too. So it's like this movie doesn't do anything wrong per se, but it just felt like I felt like I'd seen this movie on cable multiple times in the 90s, and they didn't kind of isolate something that was sort of fresh or different. I mean, yes, obviously racism still an ongoing problem in this country, and racial, white supremacist violence, an ongoing thing. Not that it's not, touching upon the zeitgeist in any way, but it's not telling me this in a way that I feel like countless other films and TV shows have done similarly and at least as well. So it didn't really leave me with very much. I like the acknowledgement that, that for as much as these movies tend to be about like law enforcement, take down the racists, like law enforcement can be pretty damn racist in this country. We live in Los Angeles, and the LAPD is sort of notorious for its sort of, internal gangs and stuff. So, at least this isn't just a like, white knight coming to the rescue. It acknowledges the messiness of all that. But it just didn't grab me as something that didn't feel real familiar.
Even the climax?
Yeah.
The big explosive violent climax?
Again, it was well put together. It was well structured. I mean, like the craftspeople who worked on this movie have, everything to be proud of. It is well shot. It is well edited. It is put together with care, but it just is ultimately, I felt very been there, done that about this whole movie.
And the score is good too. It's the director's brother who always composes the scores, Justin Kurzel. I thought, like, again, all the pieces are there. I think I just like them better than you did.
I guess, yeah.
Everyone's really good in it. Like it feels like a movie that was made, as you say, like something you've seen on cable in the 90s. Like, I think that's a feature and not a bug because we don't see that very much anymore. So it does harken to kind of like a really solidly acted, well-made kind of mid-budget movie. And it does have all these modern day relevancies, as you point out. Like,
sure,
January 6th just happened a few years ago.
No.
And these feelings exist in our country still. And so I guess as a warning to like, wake up, it's still here is relevant. If you don't want to think about it, hey, here's this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is a passion play we have to tell every few years to sort of remind people about it. But I don't know, I just kind of feel like if you're treading into territory that has been covered before, then you need to figure out what your in is to do it differently and make it feel not familiar. And I just don't feel like that Kurzel does that.
Okay. Well, then what's your number then?
I said a 5.5.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm going to say an 8. Like it does what it does really, really well. Yes, It's familiar, but it's just so well acted and so well made and so beautifully shot that I was into it. And I thought that the climax was thrilling and just heart pounding and so well done. So anyway, The Order, it is out there in the world, whether you want to see it or not. We have very different ideas on this. So let us know what you think.